following program was provided by an independent producer solely responsible for its content. The opinions expressed do not necessarily represent the views of this station, its staff, board of directors, or underwriters.
Hi, this is Ken Gidge, and this is The Art of Politics, the only show of its type. Of course, I am the liberal Democrat, which is the better of the two. Of course, we have, we have a Republican at this. How are you, William O'Brien?
It's good to see you this week.
Yeah,
it's good to be here.
It's almost like it was last week. I swear. What is going on up in Concord? We have a Republican who is the president of the Senate, Bragdon. He in turn took a job with LGC, who's in court, Supreme Court, New Hampshire Supreme Court, fighting. He's a politician. He in turn is so powerful that he literally, especially the senator, he literally takes care of, the costs and the money for the courts. I mean, it's, you know what I'm talking about?
Well, LGC, for the viewers, is Local Government Center. And it is an organization that basically does a number of things, runs some insurance programs for county and municipal governments. It opines on legislation that's in front of the legislature. My understanding, it has some lobbyists to take positions and try to convince legislators to vote certain way on bills. And I read about it as you read about it, that Senate President Bragdon has accepted a position as president of the LGC, Local Government Center. This is an ongoing problem in the New Hampshire legislature. You will remember that when I was Speaker, we objected to a fellow by the name of Mike Burnell, who had a full-time job working for the Democratic Party, and I think we rightfully objected, saying, the party shouldn't be paying people to become legislators.
Well, that's a nice way of putting it.
And so that
wasn't fair.
That was our concern, and over time we have found, for example, we objected when we found that one of the prime proponents of gay marriage in our state was a full-time employee of a group, the executive director of a group that had been set up to promote gay marriage in New Hampshire.
Isn't that why people get into politics? It doesn't make any difference
well,
what you do. I mean, if you're in the Democratic Party, what would stop somebody working for the Democratic Party? Why would it stop somebody from running for a political office?
Because they're being paid to be in politics.
Oh, I see. So we ought to. So what do you mean they're being paid to be in politics?
They're being paid to be in politics. They're a member of a political party being paid to participate in politics.
That is so nitpicking.
And so that
oh, come on.
I don't see it. We don't have to argue that case. I think unlike those who want to defend this individual, most people recognize that when they elect somebody, they want to elect somebody because they represent everyone,
But-
and not their paymasters.
Yeah, but let's get to.
And so I'm trying to draw it forward here. There's been this going on, this sort of situation occurring. This is another example of it, and it's something that, quite frankly, I think there's a number of us who look at it and say, that's a disappointment.
Well, yeah, it is a disappointment. In fact, we talked about a bill that I had, 2 amendments to the changing of the corporate laws and how we fought to get them. Well, part of that was giving the Secretary of State the right to change or to correct or to stop something dishonest within a corporation. Once it was filed and accepted, they couldn't do that, even though there was something that was wrong. Now, why this came about was it was LGC runs 2 companies. One is for-profit and non-profit. They go to Delaware, didn't do it here in New Hampshire, and they tried to combine them both together,
Right.
which is
The profitable
Right.
corporation and the nonprofit.
which is illegal. So the bill that we put in now gives the Secretary of State the right to change or to stop that or to make it legal. Imagine the Secretary of State not having the ability to do that in the first place. So that's kind of like a no-brainer. But for this company to do that, and I guess they were, it started with one fireman, who couldn't understand why he was paying so much. Then a lot of people got involved with it. All of a sudden, they went to court to get some information. They couldn't get it from the LGC. They went to court, and they won, and they went to court again. And finally, on the 3rd time, the judge says to LGC, "You've got to pay $60,000 in court costs for the lawyer. You've given these people a hard time." And then when they do the numbers, they find out that the communities that use this have been charged $50 million more than what they should have.
Right.
So now this goes in. Now this was securities, which is obviously part of our government. Going into the courts, so Superior and Supreme Court is part of our government. And now you have the highest person in office, I would say, other than the governor, which would be the president of the Senate, who in turn is going to take a job running the company?
I think we ought to take care to note some facts here. One is that Senator Bragdon is an honorable man. He's a caring man. He's a dedicated legislator. I'm sure he looked at this and made sure that it was legal. I hope he did. And from what I know about him, I'd be surprised if he didn't. Where I get disappointed is that rules of ethics should establish a floor for conduct. It shouldn't establish an area where one tries to define a grayness that allows you to kind of slip in. It should be a floor, and then we should aspire to something more. When we talk about that aspiration,
And let's add that it's $180,000 a year.
And when we talk about that aspiring for more, that aspiration, it should be that we are aspiring to avoid even the appearance of conflict or impropriety.
And that's almost impossible in many cases.
You know, it certainly is something we ought to seek. You know, I've been a lawyer for a number of years, and we operate under rules of ethics. I was a Speaker of the House, and I would often think, particularly as Speaker, and particularly knowing that people would be constantly looking over my shoulder, what is the right thing to do, both in terms of meeting the letter of the ethic rules, but in terms of appearance as well. And I did that not just because I want to think good of myself.
That's hard.
It is hard.
Because because one party or the other party can push it and make it look bad.
And they can, but at least you should strive that way. And I just don't think that the appearance of this is appropriate.
It's the worst that I've heard of.
Now, I know, and that's
Have
why.
you heard anything worse than
well,
this?
I reached back into some of the other examples, and that's why I brought them up, and I can see that there's been a journey to this position that people have, from both parties, to say, oh, it's okay to be paid by the party, you can still be up there as a legislature, oh, it's okay to be an employee of a nonprofit that's a vendor to the state, okay, it's appropriate to be a member of a union and go up there and vote on public employee laws. And
Yeah.
so we all kind of move towards this. It's disappointing that now it's gone this far.
Well, there was a book written by Grisham, a lawyer, et cetera.
John Grisham,
Yeah, and it was a story about this company that lost billions of dollars, and they figured that they needed a judge. So they went out and they bought this judge, and he was a nice guy, and very, very nice, but they said, this is the only thing we want, and sure enough, when it comes before him, he gets rid of it, disposes of it, and that's where all the trouble begins. This is just like that. It's just like the book. They're buying
I think that's
the head of the Senate.
I think that's overstating the case.
Well,
I mean,
it's
I
securities.
I assume from your example that a case was going in front of a judge and he was paid money to decide the case. And no one's ever alleged that of Peter Bragdon. Nor would he ever do anything like that. I think that's a bright line that I think a man as honorable as he would never cross.
No.
But,
Okay, I'll agree with honor, but
I think
honorable, and you and I both agree in different strengths. We both agree that it is wrong. This is not sensible for him to do this.
It's certainly something that I think he should take greater care. He should have taken greater care in deciding. You know, again, is it unethical? It depends how you define it. If you define it adherence to the rules, probably not unethical. Is it what we should aspire to?
Unethical?
I don't think it's. You know, I think it's not something we should aspire to.
This company
isn't something that I think most of us would do.
Is being basically sued by securities, which is part of our government.
Right.
They have won the suit for the communities of $50 million.
Right.
Obviously, anything that goes on with that, the Senate definitely is in the middle of it, and he's the president of the Senate, and they're buying him for $180,000 a year.
Yeah,
and
that's real strong language. That's not really appropriate. I don't think Peter Bragdon is a person that can be bought or sold.
I don't.
What I think.
By the time the show shows, he's either going to be gone or there's going to be change. This is the type of case that what would happen. We would write some rules.
It unfortunately is defensible only by identifying ambiguity in rules. And that's the point I'm making. If you can only defend yourself and your conduct as a legislator by saying that rules are ambiguous, then you shouldn't do it. I used to be, when I was in practice, I was partners with someone who became Speaker of the House in Massachusetts. And just started off, just 4 young guys. We started a law firm, and one of them became powerful in Massachusetts politics. We were lawyers, and we would be approached by individuals who would want to hire us to get to a hearing in front of the legislature, to get some appropriate favorable action in front of the legislature. And we had a rule, and it wasn't so much that we'd certainly go to rules of ethics for lawyers and for the legislature, but we had one rule that was more important at all. And that was a rule that you wouldn't find written anywhere. It was just a rule that said, if you don't know, don't do it. If you have to question it, then don't do it.
And your friend ended up spending some time.
Well, after I left the law firm.
Oh yes, you were not there.
Not for reasons having to do with this practice.
But he ended up on the radio.
Yeah.
And he ended up working with my past boss.
So
that's how I did come to. His name was Todd Feinberg.
Oh, okay. I didn't know you were at the time Todd Feinberg.
Oh yeah. So.
Yeah, and Tommy Finneran was a great guy,
yes.
and is a great guy. I made a mistake in a deposition a couple years after I left the firm, but. It's neither here nor there. The point I was trying to illustrate was that we would take a position that we don't even want to appear to be wrong. And only then could we be comfortable that we weren't doing anything wrong. And I would, if, not that Peter Bragdon would ever ask me for my advice, but if he had, I would have said, Peter, the fact that you have to make an inquiry as to whether or not a certain decision, if taken a certain way, will be ethical, means you shouldn't take it that way.
Well, there's also another part of this. What they want to know is how long has this gone on, that they were negotiating or whatever, because there is a hearing coming this Tuesday that has something to do with LGC. And from what I understand, Bragdon was going to be there, and he put 2 people in who will be there basically instead of himself. Well, this had been done like 6 or 8 weeks ago. I believe that this was put together, and he's saying that, no, I didn't know. It's only been 30 days since I've considered it, or it's come across my radar. I think he is you. So it's not okay. I gotta go read. Why don't we? I'd
have to say, if I was Speaker of the House,
okay,
and I'd been approached by LGC saying, "How would you like to be head of LGC?" I'd probably toss them from the office.
Yeah.
And then I'd dictate a memo to House Counsel talking about what the conversation was and what I had done in the conversation.
Okay, sure.
And I would have sent a copy of it to the Ethics Commission. Just to
find out.
Just
okay.
No, just to document that I heard it, I rejected it, and put it into the public domain. I just I don't know how a discussion can proceed from how would you like to be head of the or apply, or shouldn't you apply to be head of the LGC, and you're sitting there as Senate President or Speaker of the House. I don't know how it proceeds beyond you just saying, I almost said a profanity, get out of my office. Get out of here.
Well,
I don't understand how it goes beyond that.
What he can do, he can give up his position as head of the Senate. He can leave politics, but I believe he has only a 1-year contract for this particular job, all right?
Again, I read it in the paper. I haven't.
Okay, so what do you think is going to happen? Do you think he's going to stay? Do you think he's going to leave politics? Do you think he's not going to take the job now? 1, 2, or 3.
I don't know. You're asking me to be a Nostradamus as to Peter.
Oh, come on.
Peter Bragdon's
Peter
Bragdon's immediate future. I have no idea what he's going to do.
Well,
I have no idea.
Then
what would you do?
Well, let me wait.
What would you do?
We'll try to get a pen that he gives me with no ink in it, or something like that right there.
Yeah.
No, I think what he's going to do is I think he's going to have to make his mind up if he wants the money or he wants the power, and I have a feeling he's going to want the power, and I don't think he can have the money and the power together. And I don't know what's going to happen.
Whether public pressure becomes such that he has to revisit his decision or move along to another decision really depends on the media, doesn't it? I mean, we look at President Obama and the numerous scandals swirling around his administration that's ignored by the legacy media.
Oh,
and we realize this guy is at the point where he thinks he can do anything.
And the good media is who? Rush Limbaugh? I mean, give me Fox News.
Do we have to go through them? NSA, the IRS scandal, Benghazi.
Excuse me, the IRS scandal. You know how I look at the IRS scandal as this. Let's just say you're a police chief and you're going home at night and you see some people who might be dealing drugs. So you go in the next day and you say, hey, look, you got to take care of this. So you send people out there and they go into the neighborhood and the neighbors are upset because it's their neighborhood. I think of the IRS like that. I think that
when you
get
something, conservatives are drug dealers. I'm trying to get.
Well,
where are you taking this,
breaking the law is the police chief of let's say the IRS takes a look at it and says, "Oh, wait a minute. These are political action committees, and we're gonna give them taxpayers' money. They're not going to have to pay particular fees for collecting money, etc." But what you have to do is you got to be really even. In other words, politically. Now, does anyone out there believe that the that the Tea Party is not an arm or tentacle of the Republican Party, and they're getting these tax breaks.
Yeah, a bunch of Republicans
and
don't.
You get
A bunch of Republicans are pretty
But wait a minute,
convinced that it isn't.
isn't that what
But
your
go on.
corporation is doing?
But go on.
No, I mean, but let's throw it in there. Some other Democratic Democratic committees who are doing the same thing got caught, and I guess everybody got what they wanted. It's just that it took them a little bit longer. Hey, look at the IRS.
For the first time in American history, there was a systemic use of a government agency, the most powerful agency in domestic affairs, the IRS, one that controls our financial lives for the first time.
In history?
It was systemically used against another political party.
Well, I say...
No, in the past, Franklin Roosevelt and his son admitted that Franklin Roosevelt, picked out a few of his enemies, and Richard Nixon did it, and Johnson did it, and gosh, I don't know.
Wait a minute. I thought you said the first time.
No, against specific enemies. I don't like Ken Gidge, and I'm president of the United States, and I had a bad moment. I said, go audit him. Wrong. Absolutely wrong. But
you have got to read the President's Club because it happened all the time.
I'm sure it happened all the time, but never did it happen that an agency went after one political party. That's something that we see in authority.
Wait a minute. So you admit that it's
a
political party.
They went after conservatives.
And,
I see. They went after conservatives.
So the conservatives can get away with not fulfilling the agreement when they sign for their corporations. In other words, they can do. They can't play. They don't have to play by the rules.
How could you even say that? None of these events.
Because it's true.
None of these events even suggest anything. These are people who, in good faith, filed applications to be recognized as nonprofit corporations under IRS Code 501c4 that allows for advocacy.
Correct.
If you were a liberal and you filed it, things were great. If you were Barack Obama's cousin, it got processed in 8 weeks. If you were a conservative, 3 years, and some are still pending.
Are you under the impression that none of the Democrats who had these committees, who broke the law, didn't get caught?
No one broke the law among the applicants.
No one broke
the break in the law was the IRS and the Obama administration.
Me that the Tea Party,
this is just filing an application.
The Tea Party is not part of the Republican Party?
Again, you're jumping all over the place.
No,
what does that
I'm
have
not.
To do? I could answer yes or no to that,
and
it has nothing to do with the...
If you answer yes, then what you're saying is that they cannot have this particular type of corporation. You can't, in the writing of the corporation, of the way you get nonprofit, is you cannot take one side or the other directly.
Ken, you're really talking through your hat there.
No, I'm not.
You really are. First of all, there's Democrat-oriented 501c4 corporations, and there's Republican. There are liberal 501c4 corporations that have nothing to do with the Democratic Party directly, just as there's conservatives that have nothing to do with the Republican Party. The issue was not these people were breaking the law. All they were doing was just filing applications, and it's been admitted.
When they were running their business, as you're filing the application for the corporation, you can also run your corporation as a corporation. Okay, I'll tell you what. We only have 4 minutes left. Should we? This is heated. This is all right. Yeah. We would like people to come on if they would like to come on. Isn't that right?
No, we sure would. And what would be really interesting is, for example, on a point like this, is to have somebody come on as an expert.
Who wants to come on?
Yeah, it would be very interesting. Yeah.
So ask them. Ask some people to come on.
My partner here, Ken, is a little bit confused over tax law. Why don't you come on and straighten him out? Is that what you're looking for, Ken?
Yeah, I think what we're looking for is people out there, and it's been brought to us by the management of the station that we have not invited people from the general public, and we have to.
Yeah, and that's absolutely true. I mean, what we'd really like to do is to have people come on who have some particular interest in what's going on up in Concord, what's going on federally, and want to discuss it with us. You don't have to agree with me, you don't have to agree with Ken, you don't have to agree with either of us.
We can, we'll
but-
give you, I'll tell you what, if you really want to come on and give one of us hell, we'll give you a seat in 5 minutes. We won't say a word. That's going to be hard.
Where did you come up with that?
I had come with it before. No one has ever taken
All
us
right,
up
no,
on
he's
it.
committed to me.
Right.
So I'll fulfill that commitment.
Okay, so please, the management would like to see more people come to the station and use the station, Access National, and we believe it also. And I think this little argument that we've had is probably a good reason for you just to call. We're going to give you some phone numbers to call and how you get in touch with us. And come on, if you want to come on for 5 minutes and just give us hell, fine. If you want to come on and straighten us out, that's all okay too. So why don't you give your information, and we've got to sort of get out of here because we only got about 2 minutes.
Absolutely, and I want to just add to what Ken said, all of which I agree with fully, that what we intend to do here is to disagree with each other. We're going to ask people to come on and disagree with us, but do it civilly. We want to have a conversation that we can leave, as Ken and I do, the best of friends.
Well, we shake hands. That's our thing. We shake hands before and then after.
Right.
And
So-
if we don't after, then you know it is a big problem.
So, give us a call. You can reach me at 620-8710. You can come on my website, o'brienforcongress.com. You can send me an email, williamlobrien@gmail.com. All kinds of ways to get in touch with both Ken and me. Facebook, just look up William O'Brien, and you'll see a site there where there's a bunch of people blasting me. That's my site. And come on and let us know what's going on.
And you can get me at Gidge World, which is an art website. I'm an artist. Also, you can get me through email. It's kgidge@aol.com. I'm also on Facebook, so befriend me. And I'm going to give you a phone number, as Bill has given you his, but take mine and give us a call if you'd like to come on, and that is 864-9332. That's 603-864-9332. And by the way, we have not mentioned the stations who are with us, so thank you. We've got a few extra stations coming with us. Bill?
Thank you, Ken.
Okay.
Yeah, great seeing you.
Next time.
The preceding program was provided by an independent producer solely responsible for its content. The opinions expressed do not necessarily represent the views of this station, its staff, board of directors, or underwriters.